All right. Okay, folks, I just want to check in. I got the computer and the quality of the video way, way better. I was having some browser setting issues and some had to uninstall and reinstall. Anyway, so the program now is working stellarly. And so we have much higher video quality, which is important for all the imagery that y'all are going to see. Um, there are 18 windows open on my desktop. Um, I have been going through this repetitively. It's it's probably the heaviest emotional load I've ever had to carry in my life. And that says a lot. That's insane. But it is what it is, and it's the best news in the world. It's the worst news in the world. I mean, it's a double-edged sword. That's what it is. But anyway, I want to show you just how much work's gone into what's coming your way. I want to show you some. I just want to show you some drawing stuff that's in this Xenomorph folder. It started here. This is where the Lord told me to start here, and then while I was looking at this image of Eros and Psyche, and it's to try and give you the depth of where this went. And I'm going to give you a very short presentation right now. I'm saving every one of those windows for myself in the morning, and I'm going to get up and do it fresh. I don't know how many hours this video is going to be. I'm not going to stop till everything that's been delivered to me is going to be delivered to you. That's what my function is. So let me show you something. This video says sketch 228 right here. There were sketches before that. This sketch says sketch 225 right here. So if it says sketch 225, that means it was put into a program where I was making it clear and obvious to people what the image is, the hidden imagery. And so I started there at 225. Let me show you how conclusive this is, how much stuff. Okay, so we'll scroll down here. There's sketch 255. So that's 30 sketches just to this point. Sketch 268, 269, 270, 273, 275, 276, and there are multiples like 276, 276 with a title Insect Stinging Angel. I've done so many sketches that it's the artist was just really, really, really good at what he did. Anyway, so as you sketch in the changes of shadows, as you sketch in everything the artist does, as an artist, I have to take on the mind of that artist. What's he doing with this? Where's he going with it? What's the rudimentary image he's going for? Tomorrow, I'm going to deliver this in a way to where you have such a firm understanding of what you're looking at, because it's critical that you understand it in the correct, just the correct presentation. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Okay, here's an example of what I'm talking about. You have to understand the way the enemy hides its plans in plain sight is. It does a cumulative sum image, and the constituent parts of the cumulative sum make up one giant image, and that is the agenda. They don't only do it in drawings, or they do it also in statues as well as buildings. Ergo, let me give an example. So again, here is National Geographic, Pharaohs of the Sun. So you open it up And if I click on this and enlarge it, you're going to see all these images that here is Akhenaten the Pharaoh and he's holding his kid. Here's the queen and there's a kid on her lap and there's a kid sitting here. And so what your eye picks up and what your eye perceives is not what the image is at all. Not at all. The fundamental image that you're looking at is what the enemy wants you to see, but woven within that image is the entire agenda of the human race right there. Right there. You know, there's this movie called Ancient Aliens. There's a series on TV, and you know, they're always going, what if? Is it possible? I mean, I have not done one hieroglyph. I've done repetitive hieroglyphs that have come up with the same data just by drawing in the changes of shadow of the artist. The Bible says every good and perfect gift comes from above, from the creator of heavenly lights, not like them who cast shifting shadows. They invented the shadow arts. So anyway, and I can give you a really easy example. Let me give you a really easy example. Let me show you something about a hand. You see this hand right here? Let's just zero in on it. You see that hand right there? Does that look like a hand holding a hand? I mean, do you see, or does that look like a big clumpy, not so great, maybe working on it, but the reason it has these other things like that circle right there and some of these other shadows is because it's way more than just two hands holding. And this whole thing becomes an agenda for the destruction of the human race. Now, that's going to happen tomorrow when I show you this Eros and Psyche thing. And I'm going to take you to the Bible, and it's going to be heartbreaking. And I've already cried repetitively over it. It's like, no. I mean, I've literally said, Lord, I've had enough. I've seen it all, man. I'm like, okay, the Bible says with great knowledge comes great sorrow. Proverbs, it's true. So let me show you how the cumulative sum of all those images, first you thought you're looking at the Pharaoh and his wife and they're sitting on these things. But as you zoom out and you make the whole thing small, and I just very minutely put a little color in there for your eyes, you can see the whole thing's a face. There's an eye, there's an eye, there's the nose. It even has the nostrils made by their slippers, by the lines in their sandals. They have not, there's a nostril, top lip line between the lip. And then if this is the bottom lip, which it is, but there's a break in it, and that's because it's also the female reproductive system. And this is the entry point for a penis. It also becomes a female reproductive system. So if I'm to take this entire image and just simply slide it over, let me grab it on the edge so it doesn't get in the way. Let's see, I'll go like this. There we go. I'll just slide it over on it, and then I'll just size it barely. There you go. So now you can see, wow, the whole image is a big face. It's the face of the evil one. There you go. So there's the face of the evil one. Well, then if I'm to take the queen right here, and I take Queen Nefertiti right up here, and I take the queen and I go, okay, let's zero in on the queen, and I'll drop the queen right here. So there's the queen. Okay, Isaiah said, those who try and hide their plans from the Lord are doomed. They carry out their schemes in secret and think no one will see them or know what they're doing. They turn everything upside down. Just like you turn the virgin upside down. Their plans are killing sheep. I'm going to show you, I've been showing you who they are. Their plans are to kill sheep. There's another race of beings, underground, locusts. They feed off the souls of God's angels, which are light beings that are trapped in host bodies. And then they get transmuted into food for a race of locusts in the pit. So let me show you who they are. So you turn Nefertiti upside down. So here's Nefertiti. Okay, Isaiah said, those who hide their plans turn everything upside down. Turn it upside down. Turn it upside down, and then it makes this image right here. It's a sheep. There's the eye. There's the nose. There's the tongue. There's the bottom chin. There's the ear. I'll just rotate it a little bit this way for y'all's perception. That's a little bit frustrating. Let me go back, see what happened there. Let's see if, there we go. Rotate it a little bit. And then I'll take this image right here and I will slide it over and I'll drop the sheep right on there. So how come there's always dead sheep? So how come, so let me ask you this question. Why? Why is a hieroglyph that was produced 1,300 years before Christ ever walked the planet, why is it a dead sheep? Well, I told you, you're going to learn about the cumulative sum of all the images and how that cumulative sum of images makes up the agenda of what you're looking at. And here are some of those images I'm talking about. An alien inside Akhenaten. The alien turns into a scrotum and penis, penetrating a female that's on her knees. The kid being held by Akhenaten. He really has a dead sheep in his head. His head is really an egg. So the child's head is really an egg for hatching a reptile. So here's the egg. I'll put it, and see, I went right over the lines. There it is. So what's in the head of the kid? Well, I colored the sheep yellow with a pink tongue. So there's the sheep inside the egg. And then there's also a reptile that's in there too, just depending on your understanding of art and how they do their line thing. So here's the reptile in the fetal position. I'll put it over there. So see how the reptile just takes up half the sheep's face? There it is. So inside the kid's head is a reptile, baboon, and a dead sheep, baboon. And so the kid's head is a reptile and a dead sheep. So there's a new race of beings that's being hatched within the human race, and the kid's head is a place for that race of beings to hatch. That's why Lady Gaga got out of an egg, and she said her performance at the Grammy Awards is about a new race of beings being birthed within the human race, because she's absolutely right. And she's just doing a little dance to glorify, her race of beings. That's all. And God, God have mercy on her. She wore that hat for a reason. She put it right there for a reason, because when you look at it, you can see that makes a nice alien head, doesn't it? And so, some people like to argue, and, it's like you can argue with the obviousness of the truth, but, that's your deal, not mine. I'm here to deliver information. Just like this cumulative sum image is a sheep with its tongue sticking out. Okay, so here's the point. So tomorrow, I'm just going to show you a few of these, and you have to understand that this is the way that the enemy communicates their nefarious plans. And my job has been to expose them and to ring the bell and let y'all know the locusts are going to come out of the pit, and everyone who's really not ready or doesn't know the truth is going to be taken by surprise, and it's going to be the most horrifying thing you've ever seen. It's going to be like the movie Prometheus on steroids. And so anyway, that's what I'm here to do. And that's why the Lord let me prove to you repetitively that images of the Virgin turn into reptiles and into bugs. And that's why the Statue of Liberty is sitting on top of a hendecagram, which is an 11-pointed star, which is called a Kelipot in Jewish cosmology. And it represents the host body system and the Queen of Heaven standing on top of the host body system, because she rules over, and what she's holding in her hand that looks like a torch is really a penis. And that's where she gets her energy from. She's the mother of exiles, representation of Lucifer. So anyway, this is no-brainer at this point. I've got all the data. The Lord gave me the data. It's a spiritual gift. I didn't figure this out, so I don't get any kudos. The Lord did it. Give God all the credit. I didn't do it. So anyway, so then, they build buildings. They build buildings that are in the shapes of giant snakes. And the whole building tells a story, and I'm going to show you just how simple it is. And tomorrow I'm going to have every single image lined up, ready to deliver, just like machine gun, and just lay them all out. And then I'm going to show you Eros and Psyche. I may show you Eros and Psyche in the very beginning for those of y'all that know a lot of this other information. However, when you see it all put together in the correct way, it's going to impact you in a way that you'll know that there's nothing left here. I'm in the world. I'm not of the world. I was awakened inside a host body that I don't belong to this world anymore because I've been converted. I've been born of the Spirit. A lot of people talk about Christians and they think that a Christian is somebody that says they're a Christian. Let me give an example. Let's see. Maybe this is it. I don't know. Let me just check real quick. A lot of people that think Donald Trump is a Christian. I want to be very clear about this. I don't have anything against Donald Trump. I'm not for or against him, but the reality is, I've been to churches in San Antonio, like John Hagee, his ministry and other big ministries, and they say they're Christians, but they don't know the truth. And if you present them with even the bombings of the U.S. currency, on the U.S. currency, they say you're not allowed to show it in their church. What does that tell you? You're not allowed to show someone an image of the Virgin. If you turn it upside down, it's a dead sheep. No, you can't show that here. That kind of behavior. I've seen it in lots of churches. So let me show you this. Let me show you something just for those people that, Junebug. President Trump is a Christian, okay? He has prayer meetings, that's good. A lot of people that think they're Christians do channels that are hate channels dedicated to me, but they say they're Christians, which is crazy because the law of love that set us free is how we're supposed to behave towards others. And so there's these people that run around saying they're Christians, but they do hate channels and try and incite people to hatred, which is insane. It's literally wacko. But, again, so Trump is a Christian, okay? He has prayer meetings every day in the White House and Bible study. That's great. That doesn't mean you're a Christian. A Christian has the indwelling Spirit of Christ. You have been born again. You have been born of a new spirit. That's what a Christian is. You have been converted. It's not that you just said, oh, I believe Jesus Christ is the Son of God. A lot of people think that if you say that, you're a Christian. We're going to have to get into a day where we do nothing but just the gospel. And so people understand. He is a newborn Christian. Jesus said you will know them by their fruit, and Trump has done all good. Okay, this, whatever. Things you don't even know about. He gave up the good life for us. Now, he did put people ahead of himself, but that doesn't mean that he's not a puppet of the enemy. The Pope is a false prophet, that's correct, but not a reptile. You're incorrect. He stands inside of a big reptile that is the Vatican. The Vatican itself is a reptile, and he's the head of the Vatican. The word Vatican means divining serpent. So, if you want to go into, detail, everybody's part serpent. All you got to do is know what the truth is. You're part one thing and you're part something else. Oh, you mean like the hieroglyph where the kid has a reptile in his head and a dead sheep. Oh, that's interesting. The Vatican's identical to that. Isn't that weird? So here we go. The Pope is a false prophet, but not a reptile. You need to see a doctor. But see, here's this person saying they're a Christian. Okay, well, then let's look at a video real quick.
So we've got people lined up for questions. I just got one more, because you used the word Christian. Have you ever asked God for forgiveness?
That's a tough question.
Whoa. Time out. Time out. That's a hard question. That's how you become a Christian. It's like, I mean, when I started being drawn in, I stood in my living room and I just came clean. I'm like, I've done this, I've done this, I did all this stuff I never thought I would do, man, and there's no way to go back. And I said, I'm guilty. I'm guilty as charged. I deserve to go to hell. I deserve it. And I admitted it. And then I said, but, if I wanted to reach out to Christ, I don't even know which one to reach out to because everyone's got their own version. And that's when Jesus led me in and he showed me the truth. Now let's listen real quick.
Think in terms of I'm a religious. That's a tough question. I don't think in terms of I'm a religious person.
A religious person. I'm a completely non-religious person. I hate religion. Religion is evil. Relationship is everything. Religion, Pharisees were religious people. And so are a lot of these people that do their channels that think they're godly and they're delusional.
Shockingly, because people are so shocked when they find this out, I'm Protestant, I'm Presbyterian. And I go to church and I love God and I love my church. And Norman Vincent Peale, the great Norman Vincent Peale, was my pastor.
Okay, well, I don't know how many people have looked up Norman Vincent Peale, but you can go look him up yourself.
The power of positive thinking. Everybody's heard of Norman Vincent Peale. He was so great. He would give a sermon you never wanted to leave. Sometimes we have sermons, and every once in a while we think about leaving a little early, right, even though we're Christian. Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, Frank, would give a sermon. I'm telling you, I still remember his sermons. It was unbelievable. And what he would do is he'd bring real-life situations, modern-day situations, into the sermon. And you could listen to him all day long. When you left the church, you were disappointed that it was over. He was the greatest guy. And then, he passed away, but he was a great... He wrote The Power of Positive Thinking, which is a great book.
But have you ever asked God for forgiveness?
I'm not sure I have. I just go and try and do a better job from there. I don't think so.
Okay, so, again, I said I don't have anything against Donald Trump. I think as far as the president goes, I think he's in there trying to do his very best under very difficult circumstances. And I can guarantee you that the person that was in there before is the Antichrist. And he's about to take his seat of power. So anyway, who's behind all this nonsense? Who do you think the FBI is protecting? Who do you think everybody's protecting? Comey, McCabe, Comey's book, A Higher Loyalty, Truth and Lies. Who do you think he's protecting? Who do you think Loretta Lynch is protecting? Who do you think Ann Rice is protecting? Who do you think McCabe is protecting? Who do you think Hillary's protecting? Who do you think they're all protecting? Barack Hussein Obama. Now, some of you may have seen this this thing that came on an image of Barack where he's dressed up wearing this garb. This is a really good source because if you go through it, they went through the metadata to find out the origin, which, by the way, you can do. Some people are so stupid. Anyway, you can go through the metadata and you can find out who and where something came from if you just have a little bit of savvy. Or if you have friends that work in the internet security business. So anyway, so there's this picture that went viral of Barack Obama. But if you read through it, now you know what, let's go through it really quick because I think it's fascinating. This image came up of Barack Obama. Well, I've been telling everybody for a long time, look, this guy's the Antichrist. I've done videos on it. I've done all the spiritual information the Lord's given me, I passed on to you. And I've done several videos. Some of them have, three and a half million views, just one vid. Uh, Probably more like 6 or 7 million mirrored. Anyway, but there's a lot of info in those videos that are just facts. And so you go through the facts, and it's just like the Bible says, I beheld Satan falling as lightning, Barack, from the heavens, Obama. Well, that's pretty weird. And then Barack Obama had a replica of the altar of Pergamum made to give his speech, when he won the election. So he stood on the seat of Satan while he gave a seat. Now, who would have the altar of Pergamum rebuilt? Actually, he asked the Berlin Museum if he could have it disassembled and brought to America, and they said no way. He tried to get the original, but he couldn't get the original, so he had a replica built of the altar of Pergamum, out of the book of Revelations, the seat of Satan. Yeah. And he stood on the seat of Satan, and he kept saying, yes, we can, yes, we can, yes, we can. You play it backwards, it's thank you, Satan, thank you, Satan. He has a name, so Barca, and on the back of the passport that Stanley Ann Dunham had removed, so Barca backwards is Hakrab Eos. I showed you Hakrab means scorpion, and Eos means goddess of the dawn, and which in the root is Eo, which is Apollyon. I mean, that's probably just a coincidence. Anyway, so I've given you guys all this info. It's just ridiculous at this point. Okay, so on this image, it says a disturbing image of President Barack Obama dressed as Satan has emerged online. The image first appeared when it was uploaded on Instagram by an artist named Anne Marie Hope, who was known for illustrations of satanic churches. So that's something that the person that uploaded it is known for. The photo, which appears to have been taken by Hope herself, was uploaded to her profile with a caption that included the phrase class and grace, a term often used by Obama supporters to describe the ex-POTUS. Okay, the image was deleted shortly after it was uploaded, but not before it was archived. When asked why she deleted the image, Hope responded saying, too much hate, not enough support. Copies of the photo have now begun circulating on message boards, causing huge amount of debate, blah, blah, blah. So they started going through the metadata. By the way, if you leave any address for any channel, any website you have, anyone that has any internet skills can use that metadata and find out, where it all came from. Yeah. So anyway, so of course, the first cry from debunkers that the image has been photoshopped. So let's investigate that theory. To check the image if it has been digitally altered from another photo, the first thing to do is a reverse image search to see if the original image appeared online or if there was an original image that they used. After uploading the image to Google search and the TinEye, the photo pulls 0 results from either service, meaning if it was altered from another image, then the original image has never been uploaded to the internet, which seems unlikely. So then they showed their search, 0 results out of 28.9 billion images. So secondly, a typical technique to identify an altered image is to apply different filters to an image. Okay, by applying these filters, it highlights points at which different images may have been joined to look like one image. Again, this shows no image evidence of tampering. So I've done this before. When you apply different filters to it, you're able to see if the image is, cohesive or whether or not there's something that went over it, because it'll show as a distinct line through it that one of them's not the same as the other, and the filters make that possible. I applied a filter to the dragon face on the Sistine Chapel. I had Dave the Wave apply a bunch of filters. It turned out some really amazing stuff. Okay, if the image has been photoshopped, as some suggest, and it would require a very high skill set in image manipulation that would go way beyond the typical prank levels, it is also unlikely that Hope would have such professional skills without mention of it anywhere. The fact that Ms. Hope doesn't appear to have obtained the image elsewhere and that she couldn't have faked the image suggests she took the photo herself. Now, if you look at, this image of the eyes, You look here and here. It sure does look like Barack Obama, but aside from the striking resemblance between the person in the satanic garb and Obama, the person who stood next to Obama appears to be Archer Davis. He was an attorney and a politician who served as a Democratic member of the United States House of Representatives for Alabama, blah, blah, blah. He was a candidate for the Democratic nomination for governor of Alabama 2010. He was an early supporter of Barack Obama in 2008, bid for presidency and one of the national co-chairs for Obama's 2008 campaign. So this guy right here is one of Obama's old cronies. And that is made evidence by this photo of him right here, this photo of him right here, and other photos of him here, here with Hillary and Bill Clinton. Here he is here, and here he is. That is certainly him. Note the jacket says Chicago hometown. Okay, so the image goes viral, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, so yeah, it looks like that's more than likely Barack wearing some really interesting, weird garb. But let me show you something even more interesting. This is an old article that you can. I'll put in the comment section. So this is the altar of Pergamum right here. Revelation 2:13. I know thy works and where you dwell, even where Satan's seat is. And that's this altar of Pergamum. By the way, Hitler and his armies discovered it, and they dismantled it, and they took that back to Berlin. Hitler was very interested in these things of the occult. And so he took it back, and there it is. And so then Barack Obama wanted to have it taken down and reconstructed, and he wanted to give his, hey, I won the presidency speech on it in the Denver Broncos Stadium. That's what he wanted to do it on. Germany said, no, we're not going to do it. And so Barack Obama had this built, which is a replica of it for his speech. So there it is. So Denver Stadium, replica of the seat of Satan. So Barack Obama stood on the seat of Satan, and he gave his acceptance, saying, yes, we can, yes, we can. Play it backwards. Thank you, Satan. A lot of people think that's weird, but you know what? It is what it is. And so then as you look down, this is what I find really fascinating. Because remember, Eos, remember Sobarka, the name Sobarka on his mother's passport I showed you? It's Hakrab Eos. Hakrab is Hebrew, and it's scorpion. And Eos is goddess of the dawn, and Eo comes from Apollyon. It's like, how do you get all that together associated with Barack Obama? I mean, how in the hell did that happen? It's on his mom's passport. That was his occult name given to him by, probably one of the members of the ones that gave Lorette DeLiana Fuddy her name. Okay, so right here is what's called as Victoria, known as the Goddess of Victory right here. There it is. Okay, some of y'all may have seen this or know about it. But in the 1880s, archaeologists removed the altar from Pergamos and painstakingly reassembled it in Berlin, where it is now today in a special museum built to encapsulate it for its display and preservation. They're talking about the seat of Satan. But here's one thing that's really interesting. A statue of Victoria stands high atop a Grecian spire, which is very reminiscent of the ancient Egyptian obelisk. Now, what is fascinating is when Barack Obama went to Berlin and gave his speech on foreign policy, before the alleged president of the United States in the summer of 2008, he stood beneath the statue of Victoria, and he spoke to the tremendous crowds that were assembled there. Now, this is where things start to get interesting, the spire of Victoria. So there it is, and you guys, let's see. Let me just show you what this is so you can see it. So let's turn this into just a little educational video give you guys some more data before we do Eros and Psyche. And there we go, right there. So there it is right there, and there she is. That's it. Okay, there you go. So that's what's on top of that spire. There it is, right there. There it is. Yep. And she represents, the other half. There's like, God and goddess. That's what's going on. So now let me show you this again. So there's Obama standing there. So here's what's really interesting. He did not directly face the crowds while giving his speech, but instead made it a point to stand to the left of the crowd, having them to his right. By doing this, he had positioned himself to face directly toward and address the museum in Berlin where the altar of Zeus, where the seat of Satan is, now located, while at the same time standing beneath Satan's charioteer, Victoria. Here's Barack Obama beneath the spire of Victoria. And so, and then there's the quadriga and all that stuff. I don't know how much y'all know about all that. But anyway, very fascinating stuff. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to delete that from stuff I was going to show you tomorrow. But I will save this link and I will give it to you guys. Anyone that wants to go see that information and read that, it's fascinating. And then anyone that, wants to look at this link as well, I'll put both these links. These are both really good. If you want to just kind of brush up on knowing that info, just so you know, I mean, he is the guy. He's about ready to come to power right now. That's more than likely him wearing his little costume, but, who cares? There's so much more data on him other than that. I mean, who cares about his little costume? Anyway, he's going to put on his real costume here pretty quick. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of knock off some of these windows. And then tomorrow when I'm fresh, I'm going to deliver the most burdensome reality of information that the Lord's ever given me. And I know that I've come to the end of solving the riddle. What's really fascinating, for those of y'all that have been watching this ministry for a while, y'all should know that many years ago I told everybody publicly the Lord told me he was going to use me to solve the riddle of ages. And I was like, I don't even know what that means. What does that mean? You're going to use me to solve the riddle of ages. Now I know exactly what it means because he's done it. And now I know it's done. So I will share it with you. You guys have seen a lot of it. There's no doubt, just by the copious amount of information that's all identical, it's all congruent. Virgin equals bug. Virgin equals dead sheep. Bugs coming out of the pit. Sheep equals angels being eaten by serpent. I mean, it doesn't take a big brain to put together the data that I have. All you have to do is look at the data. The data supports it, and the data proves it, and the data goes right to the Bible. So anyway, supernatural spiritual gift delivered by the Lord God to you through me. All glory to God. I don't want any glory. I did not do it. I just stuck it out. I was able to take the beating. So that's it. And so that's it. So anyway, yeah, tomorrow we'll work it out on thanks for the metadata. Yeah, easy to find. Anyway, so yeah, we'll post those links and we'll get to you guys tomorrow. All right, God bless.